Bien, bonjour et bienvenue à notre rendez-vous de midi. Nous sommes aujourd'hui le mercredi 5 octobre. Nous avons une seule annonce pour vous aujourd'hui et pour cela j'appelle Balach à me rejoindre sur le podium sur un nouveau renforcement du mécanisme de protection civile de l'Union européenne.
That is correct indeed. Good afternoon. So after a record-breaking forest fire season in Europe this past summer, the Commission is today proposing to significantly reinforce EU capacities as of next summer. Specifically, we are proposing €170 million from the EU budget to reinforce ground and area capacities under RescEU, including on the basis of leased assets. Building on the assets that we already have, we should face next year's forest fire season with a significantly strengthened fleet, including now 22 planes and 4 helicopters. So this is a significant increase compared to this year. In addition to that, building on the experience that we've obtained this year, we also intend to pre-position additional ground teams in countries with high risk. And as from 2025, the fleet would be further boosted through an accelerated procurement of airplanes and helicopters.
Thank you very much. This closes our announcements for today. Obviously, we started the midday briefing a bit late because, as I had signaled, there was a VTC of commissioners that started at 11 to discuss the state of play on energy. And this VTC ended at midday. It gave the opportunity for commissioners to debrief on the various council formations that they attended, many of which had discussions on energy. For example, obviously, the Energy Council, the Eurogroup, and the ECOFIN, and also the Competitiveness Council. And the President, of course, debriefed on her speech in the plenary of the European Parliament and looked ahead to the European Council, the informal European Council that will be taking place in Prague on Friday. Voila, this is what I had to say before going to your questions. Yes, please.
Alice Tidy, Euronews. I had a question over the President's attendance at the EPC, and I wondered if she has already scheduled some bilateral meetings with some other leaders, and if yes, with whom?
Thank you very much. I do not have her precise schedule. Of course, she will attend the EPC, and indeed, as far as I know, there are a number of bilaterals which are foreseen in the margins of the overall discussions, but I do not have a specific list. This is still very, very fluid, and we will communicate as things develop on who she will have been meeting. As you know, very often we communicate after the meetings have taken place. Okay, I now move to, yes, please. Sorry, I hadn't seen your hand.
Thank you, Peter Thompson, Watch Major. Just two questions related to a piece that just came out by Reuters regarding a speech the President made in Strasbourg. It's mentioned that the President means to put out a roadmap for member states and leaders who gather now in Prague regarding the gas price caps. Just two questions. That is, one, could you maybe explain a little bit about what this will entail, if you know at this point, and how the roadmap is to be presented? And secondly, would that be shared or made public, and when? Thank you.
I don't think the word that she used is a roadmap. She has said that, and she said in her speech, she would send a letter to leaders in advance of the informal European Council in Prague on Friday. This letter has not yet been sent out. We will make it available to you as soon as it has been sent out to leaders. And in this letter, she will come back on the elements that she mentioned in her speech this morning, which I am sure many of you have listened to, where she set out a certain number of elements that we are working on in order to tackle the high energy prices currently faced by European consumers and businesses. And she basically highlighted three main elements when it comes to what we want to do on gas prices. The first is to negotiate with, or to discuss rather, to discuss with trusted partners such as Norway or the US on the delivery of gas to Europe, both in terms of volumes and in terms of prices. Secondly, she said that we want to propose a way to dampen the effect of the price of gas on the production of electricity, because, as you know, gas is an important energy source when it comes to the production of electricity. And third, she said that we want to look in the medium term at how to replace a very important index, which is the TTF index used in many contracts when it comes to the trade of wholesale gas within the European Union. But whilst we are doing this, because we recognize that this will take some time, to have inside the European Union a gas price cap on this trade, in order to also dampen overall energy costs for consumers and businesses. So these are the three things that she set out when it comes to the actual price of energy in Europe. Okay, are there other questions on this? Please only keep your hand raised in the chat if your question relates to this. Sorry, I see that somebody says, what is a VTC? I apologize, VTC is a video conference. So the college, the members of the college met in a Skype video conference this morning. Monica.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Monica with the New York Times. So I have one more question about President's speech this morning. So is the price cap on gas that she called for temporary one while waiting to, replace the TTF index? Is that a price cap on all gas coming into the EU, or would that be just on Russian gas or just on gas used to produce electricity? Just to clarify what she had in mind. Thank you.
So, first of all, she hasn't used Russian or non-Russian in her speech, and she distinguished between, on the one hand, as I've just said, an intervention on the price of gas that is used to generate electricity. So that is one specific element on which we will work by putting in place a cap on the price of gas that is used for the generation of electricity. And on the other hand, so in parallel to this, she has said we will look at a cap on trade of gas within Europe. So this is not directly linked to the price that we pay for imports. This is on the European market. I would urge you to wait for the letter that the President will be sending out, and then, of course, also the discussions that will take place in the coming days on this. This is, for the moment, a direction that we are pointing towards in terms of the types of actions that we are thinking of. But, of course, many of the details still have to be presented and discussed. And all of this builds, as the President said, first of all, on previous communications that we have made, and in particular the March communication that set out some of these options, like, for example, the last one that I have just presented, which at the time was debated but did not have a lot of support, and as the President said in her speech this morning, now is garnering more support, and it's also building, obviously, on the discussions that have taken place in various council meetings in the recent months and weeks. Stefano.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Stefano, we cannot hear you. Go ahead. I think it's just that your sound is too low because I can hear something vaguely, but it's not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Very, very weakly. Perhaps, no, we can't bring up the sound from our level. You have to do it from yours. Go ahead. No, it's not working. I'm sorry, Stefano. We'll try to sort it out, and we'll see. Hold on, I have other questions from the chat. So, David, we come to you.
Oui, merci, Eric. Je comprends très bien le fait qu'on doit attendre, mais je ne comprends pas comment ça peut marcher un price cap interne à l'Union européenne et pas sur les importations, comme tu l'as défini. Si je regarde la communication du mois de mars, je l'ai vu très rapidement. On parle de prix réglementé au détail. Est-ce que c'est ça l'option qui n'a pas été retenue au mois de mars et aujourd'hui pourrait être proposée par la présidente de la Commission? Et en tout cas, qu'est-ce qui a changé par rapport il y a une semaine quand vous avez présenté un non-paper où le price cap sur le gaz, celui importé et celui à l'interne de l'Union européenne, n'était pas une option viable pour la Commission, entre autres parce qu'à l'intérieur du marché unique, le gaz aurait été bloqué au niveau national, donc il ne pouvait plus être revendu d'un État à l'autre. Je veux dire, qu'est-ce qui a changé par rapport à une semaine?
Ben, sur ta dernière question, David, un non-paper, c'est un non-paper. C'est l'état de nos réflexions à un moment X dans un débat qui évolue constamment. Ce n'est pas une proposition formelle de la Commission. Et depuis la publication de ce non-paper, ou sa transmission plutôt au ministre du Conseil de l'énergie, des discussions ont continué. Et la réflexion interne au sein de la Commission a continué. Et on cherche à calibrer les propositions de telle manière à ce qu'elles soient le plus efficaces possible. Et je pense que cela va continuer d'ailleurs, vu que nous avons un Conseil européen informel vendredi, d'autres réunions du Conseil des ministres de l'énergie qui sont prévues au mois d'octobre. Et à un moment, la Commission viendra avec ses propositions formelles. Mais encore une fois, il est tout à fait normal sur un sujet de la complexité de celui que nous traitons que les propositions et les réflexions évoluent. En ce qui concerne la proposition, c'est dans la communication de mars. Il y a, si je me souviens bien, page 4, je ne l'ai pas avec moi ici, mais Tim pourra peut-être nous en dire plus. Il y a un paragraphe spécifique qui mentionne cette option, enfin cette possibilité d'intervenir sur le commerce du gaz, les échanges de gaz à l'intérieur de l'Europe, donc au niveau de prix de gros et non pas de prix de détail, de ce que je comprends. Mais encore une fois, je pense qu'il faut être clair que la présidente a dessiné des perspectives d'action, des axes d'action, et tout cela va encore être précisé dans un avenir proche. Anna.
Oui, bonjour. Je vais poser une question en français si c'est possible. J'avais une question sur justement qu'est-ce qu'attend la présidente von der Leyen et qu'est-ce qu'attend la Commission de la réunion de Prague, et est-ce que les ministres de l'énergie auront quelque chose à se mettre sous la dent le 11-12, donc quelques jours après la réunion de Prague sur l'énergie. Est-ce qu'on attend encore des nouveaux non-papers, ou à partir de quel moment en fait la Commission va estimer que vous avez assez consulté, rédigé des non-papers et des lettres, et qu'il est peut-être temps de mettre une proposition législative sur la table? Est-ce qu'on peut s'y attendre avant la réunion des ministres de l'énergie? Sinon, j'ai l'impression que cette nouvelle réunion du 12, on revivra le débat du 30 septembre dernier.
Merci. La présidente, je pense, attend du sommet informel de vendredi une discussion qui permette de confirmer le fait que les leaders, d'une part, bien entendu, comprennent les différents enjeux auxquels l'Europe est confrontée, en tenant compte des différences nationales qui peuvent exister, car on le sait, les mix énergétiques nationaux sont différents, la dépendance par rapport au gaz russe est différente, les structures économiques des États membres sont différentes, et donc vous avez là un jeu de variables qui demande à être présenté et bien expliqué par l'ensemble des intervenants afin que l'on puisse déterminer ensemble quelle doit être la solution européenne appropriée. Et je pense que la réunion de vendredi sera extrêmement utile de ce point de vue-là. À quel moment est-ce que nous viendrons avec des propositions ? Je ne peux pas te le dire aujourd'hui. Ce qui est important, c'est qu'au moment où nous venons avec des propositions, celles-ci reflètent justement une bonne maîtrise de la complexité que je viens d'évoquer et des solutions qui justement en tiennent compte et peuvent être mises en œuvre avec efficacité, avec des résultats rapides pour le bénéfice des citoyens et des entreprises européennes. Donc, le timing est important, mais ce qui est encore plus important, c'est le fait que les propositions, une fois qu'elles soient sur la table, aient la qualité suffisante. Mathieu.
Bonjour Eric. Toujours sur le discours de la présidente, mais plus sur le volet financement de la stratégie REPowerEU. Donc elle a dit qu'effectivement elle préconisait un nouveau financement européen conjoint. Est-ce que tu peux préciser la nature de ce financement européen? Est-ce qu'il s'agit d'un nouvel emprunt européen? Quelles seraient ses modalités?
Merci Mathieu. Je pense que si la présidente avait voulu préciser dans son discours exactement ce qu'elle avait en tête, elle l'aurait fait. Je crois que c'est un sujet qui, là aussi, mérite discussion avec les chefs d'État et de gouvernement. Donc je ne suis pas en mesure de fournir plus de détails ici sur le podium aujourd'hui. Ce qui est très important, je crois, c'est qu'elle ait indiqué là aussi une direction claire, c'est-à-dire la nécessité de renforcer une action commune dans le domaine de l'énergie. On a fait une proposition qui s'appelle REPowerEU, comme tu l'as justement signalé. D'ailleurs, nous nous réjouissons bien entendu que le Conseil hier ait pu définir une position commune par rapport à cette proposition. Et ce qu'a dit la présidente, c'est que afin de faire face aux défis énergétiques auxquels nous sommes confrontés, c'est là qu'il lui semble qu'il faut renforcer nos moyens d'action communs au niveau européen. Exactement comment cela pourrait être fait en termes de financement, cela reste à définir et à discuter. Je continue, j'ai beaucoup de mains levées, donc je continue avec Lorenzo.
Oui, j'espère que vous... Et voilà. Alors, la question est toujours sur le price cap, parce que cette précision que tu as donnée, Eric, qui regarde en fait l'option de mars, me semble restreindre beaucoup le camp, en fait. Les 15 qui avaient demandé le price cap demandaient une limitation du prix général et pas seulement sur le marché européen. Et c'est clair que si on n'a pas de limitation du prix à l'importation, on doit compenser la différence. Et donc, comment on compense cette différence? Et l'autre chose que je voulais demander, les ministres de l'énergie avaient dit, certains ministres de l'énergie, ceux qui étaient en faveur du price cap en particulier, qu'ils auraient envoyé des bullet points, en fait, des points à discuter à la Commission pendant cette semaine, avant le sommet de Prague. Est-ce que vous avez reçu des inputs de la part des ministres de l'énergie, quelque chose qui alimente la discussion? Merci.
Sur ta deuxième question, Lorenzo, je ne suis pas en mesure de répondre précisément. Ce qui est clair, c'est qu'il y a des contacts permanents entre la Commission et les États membres, bien entendu, et que c'est bien pour cela, comme je le dis aussi, que la situation et nos propositions évoluent. Comme je l'ai dit, il y a d'une part nos réflexions internes, d'autre part, bien entendu, nos contacts avec les acteurs. Encore une fois, j'aimerais pouvoir répondre ici à toutes vos questions techniques, mais vous devez bien comprendre que justement le travail est encore en cours. Donc il n'est pas possible ici sur le podium de vous détailler une proposition qui est encore en train d'être élaborée dans ses détails opérationnels et qui continuera à l'être sur base des discussions qui vont avoir lieu. Ce que tu as raison de signaler, c'est qu'effectivement, en fonction du mécanisme que l'on retiendra, il y aura des conséquences différentes dont il faudra tenir compte. Et ce que la présidente a dit dans son discours ce matin, et que nous avons déjà répété à de nombreuses reprises, c'est que quoi que nous fassions, il est extrêmement important de nous assurer que nous soyons en mesure de combiner d'une part un effet sur le coût du gaz sans remettre en cause la sécurité d'approvisionnement. Et effectivement, il va falloir que l'on trouve le meilleur moyen de le faire, et c'est ce qui fait l'objet de réflexions intenses parmi d'autres sujets pour le moment. Alors, je vais donner la parole à des gens qui ne l'ont pas encore eu, et on reviendra ensuite à d'autres collègues qui ont déjà levé la main. Angela.
Yes, thank you, Eric. It's basically a follow-up. Maybe you will give me the same question, the same answer, but I try. Can we expect a proposal by the Commission by the UCO of the 20th of October? Is that a possible deadline? Thanks.
In life, everything is possible. But I cannot tell you with certainty at which point in time the Commission will put forward its proposal. But what is clear, as you can see, in view of the intensity of the work that is ongoing, we are not wasting a single minute in terms of working on the possible solutions that could find consensus and be effective to reach our objectives of lowering the cost of energy, in particular of gas, for Europeans. But I'm not going to be, fixed on a specific timeline. We will have to see. Okay, I think no, Jean, pardon, j'ai raté Jean. Et ensuite, j'ai des personnes qui ont déjà posé des questions.
Bonjour, je rencontre de contexte, par contre c'est un autre sujet, moi. Je peux poser quand même?
Non, il faut que tu attendes, mon cher. Merci. Alors, nous revenons aux personnes qui ont levé leurs mains sur ce sujet. Monica.
Hi, so again, another follow-up just to clarify. So I know that this was, you said that we should not expect technical answers, but this is quite a political question. Like in her speech, did the president mean a price cap just on gas that is domestically traded and used to generate electricity, correct? She did not talk about a price cap on gas imported into the bloc at all, whether it would be Russian or not, because you said that she did not mention Russia, but actually she did. She said we will also work together with member states to reduce gas prices and limit volatility and the impact of prices manipulation by Russia. And then she said, in March, we qualified such a price cap as having an immediate impact on price level, entailing drawbacks, but the situation has critically evolved since then. So this price cap that she's talking about in this sentence, is that a price cap on gas used to generate electricity and not on gas imported into the bloc, whether it be Russian or non-Russian?
Monica, you are making an artificial distinction. You've asked me that question before, and I've already answered it. She is saying, on the one hand, we are going to propose a price cap on gas used to generate electricity. That is in her speech. So you have that on one hand. On the other hand, when you're talking imports, she has said, we will discuss with our trusted partners, for example, the US and Norway, on gas deliveries to Europe. So this, we hope, will have as well an impact on the cost of energy. And then she mentioned a third pillar, okay, which you did not see in her speech, the word a price on the import of gas. That is not in her speech. She mentioned a different track, which is a cap on energy traded in Europe, as long as we are working on a reform or replacing the TTF with another benchmark, or developing a new benchmark that could be a reference for gas trading in Europe. So this is not, she has not mentioned a price cap on gas imported from Russia, for example, as you were saying. Okay, David.
Yes, apologies, but the speech by the president was not clear at all, and your explanation is not clear at all, for me, at least for me, because gas traded in Europe in its majority comes from outside Europe, and the TTF index is the index used by traders to buy gas also outside Europe. So basically the issue is there will be a price cap just for the gas traded inside the European Union, or also for imported gas.
I think I've answered that question, David, at least 3 times already, and I cannot add anything to that. Sorry, don't cut him off. Sorry, David, that was a technical failure. But I have nothing else to add. We're giving you the floor again. Huh? I have nothing else to add to what I've just said. Now, I entirely agree with you that this is a very complex issue, and that, of course, there are links between the price of gas traded within Europe and the price of the gas that we buy from outside. But the president has not said in her speech, we are going to propose a price cap on the import of gas. She has said something else. And apologies, but as I said earlier, you will have to wait until we provide further details on what we mean by this. As I said, this is related to the wholesale markets of gas trading in Europe. David, I think you have the floor again. Apologies again for that.
No worries. Thank you. I will wait with interest on the proposals. I have a follow-up on Jean's question on the Repower EU, not all the mechanism to boost it, but I would say a political one. Repower EU is a tool that should help member states to reduce the dependence on Russian gas and to allow people to have better efficiency, energy efficiency, and so on. But the crisis today is on prices. It's not on other issue. Second point, yesterday the agreement at the ECOFIN Council, they boosted Repower EU in terms of financing and in terms of how the money will go, where the money will go, because unclaimed loans, we don't know if other member states will be able to use that and so on. So I'm wondering why she chose to go in that direction, to give that direction, instead of supporting the other proposal made by two commissioners on sure that it's quite different and could go to the point of the today crisis, so the prices, and not, let's say, dependence on Russian gas and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, David, but our understanding of SURE seems to be extremely divergent. As far as I remember, when SURE was instituted, it had nothing to do with energy prices. It was created in the midst of the COVID crisis, when we had many companies that were facing the consequences of a severe economic downturn. And this was a tool used to help member states finance partial employment. So to somehow claim that SURE is linked to electricity prices and helping people deal with that does not match. So that's the first point. The second point is that we have made lots of proposals on how to help people deal with electricity prices. Don't forget that what the President has presented today, as she herself said in the first part of her speech, and I would invite you to reread it, comes on top of a whole series of actions that we have already taken. And in particular, the proposals to skim profits from certain energy producers, in particular renewables that produce at costs which are way below the current market price, in order to give member states the financing room to support vulnerable consumers and businesses. Now, obviously, with the measures that she is sketching out, that she sketched out this morning in her speech, and on which we will continue to work, we would also work on the overall level of prices for energy in Europe. Hence, having a positive impact on the cost of energy for all European citizens and businesses. And finally, the Repower EU leg, and I thank you for bringing this up again. Repower EU is about preparing the future. It's about dealing with some of the immediate consequences when it comes to the missing infrastructure that we need in order to ensure that we have all the proper flows of gas and electricity within Europe. But it's also about helping Europeans prepare for a future where we know energy prices are probably going to stay high, because there is, in any case, across the globe, such a high demand for energy. So it's helping them invest in making sure that their homes are better equipped and basically consume less energy. It's about helping companies invest in their processes in order to consume less energy. So you need to work on different types of measures in parallel in order to, on the one hand, tackle the immediate consequences, and on the other, prepare for the future. Okay, are there other questions for us on this? No, so I go back I think it was Jean who had a question, yes, on another issue.
Oui, bonjour, Jean Comte de Contexte. Alors, sur un sujet différent, le Parlement français hier a rejeté la loi de programmation des finances publiques. Or, le vote de cette loi était l'un des jalons qui est dans le plan de relance français. Et donc, je comprends que la prochaine tranche de déboursement prévue pour la France sera inférieure à ce qui a été prévu, puisqu'il manque un jalon. Est-ce que vous pouvez confirmer cela? Et est-ce que vous avez déjà une estimation du montant qui sera retiré à cause de ce jalon qui manque? Merci beaucoup.
Merci Jean. Nous reviendrons vers toi bilatéralement car je regarde Verlet qui me dit qu'elle n'a pas d'informations à communiquer sur ce point pour le moment, mais on reviendra vers toi. Y a-t-il d'autres questions pour nous aujourd'hui sur d'autres sujets? Ça n'est pas le cas. Je vous remercie et nous allons vous communiquer s'il y a un midday demain ou pas, car cela dépend un peu de la logistique aussi à Prague pour le sommet de la communauté politique européenne. Et comme vous savez, vendredi, il y aura une conférence de presse certainement à la fin du Conseil européen informel, et donc il n'y aura pas de midday vendredi, quoi qu'il arrive. Merci beaucoup.